everybody. Welcome back to the Angel Angle. This is your podcast for everything and anything Angels baseball. Welcome back to episode 6. Today, we are going to spare you guys. We will not bore you to death with our top 3 picks of our favorite position, of our players, of the positions, of the players, of the position players.
I think you're just lazy.
I was just lazy. It's a lot to take 5 minutes out of your day and research this kind of stuff.
Wow.
It does take more than 5 minutes, if you guys don't know. Especially for him, it takes him about 3 hours.
Hey, it's like homework.
Not if you know how to operate a computer, but
hey, I got it up right here.
Yeah, and it took you. Wow, that's impressive. Black and white too. It's very nice. All right, everybody. Unless you've been living underneath a rock, yesterday completed the World Baseball Classic, and there was probably one word to describe the World Baseball Classic, and that is awesome. It was awesome, and it was a lot of fun. Tons of Angels in it.
I think they need to rename it.
To what?
The World
Cup
Angels
of Baseball
Classic.
The World Angels Classic.
Because it came down to 2 Angels.
It did come down to 2 Angels, unless you are also living under a rock. The championship game was the United States versus Shohei Ohtani's Japan.
Yep.
And it came down to Shohei Ohtani versus Mike Trout. Every single Angel fan's fantasy, their deepest, darkest fantasy, just happened last night. And I was squealing like a little schoolgirl in joy watching that. I was just quivering in my boots like, oh my gosh, it's going to happen. Then it happened, and I was freaking out. Yeah. Because
I think we were all doing because they said he was going to pitch the 9th, right? And everybody was kind of doing the math after Trout batted the last time, and that inning ended in the 7th. It's like, how many guys have to get on in order for Trout to face Ohtani in the 9th? And it was dead on.
So it does raise suspicion though of was the whole tournament scripted? It does raise that suspicion. Without a doubt, a possibility it might have been scripted. You know, we'll just never know. But
are you saying there's a conspiracy theory?
Well, I'm just saying, what are the odds of that happening? I don't know. If I'm a betting man, I'm not betting on that. That's all I'm trying to say.
You're not betting on that?
No, I mean, no. The next most reasonable explanation is probably that it was rigged. It was scripted. I'll leave that up for debate. I think the majority of people agree with me on that one, but I'll leave you in the minority on that one. So, anyway, we wanted to go ahead and really just bask in the greatness that was last night. And, you know, I do feel bad for Mike. I felt bad for Mike Trout because this is the first time, because Ohtani's had a taste of winning more recently than Trout has. For Trout, it's been a long 9 years. All right, it's been a long 9 years. If you, no, 11.
8. 2014.
12. The last time he won. He didn't win in 2012. Well, I guess it was 2014.
Oh, 2014 is when they went to the playoffs.
You're right. 9. Well, then 9.
8. We haven't even played 2023
Shut up.
yet.
Stop. Shut up. Okay, 8 years. It's been a long time since Mike Trout has experienced winning. Shohei Ohtani has experienced it quite a little bit more recently, I would say. So, you know, it's been a long time coming for Mike, and I wish Trout was like the second out of the inning, and then it ended on Paul Goldschmidt, because I feel like because it ended on Trout, it feels like it was Trout's fault that the USA lost. And if you guys don't know, if you guys aren't on social media, there are a lot of people out there who are now hating on Mike Trout, and it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that Mike Trout is getting those comments that he's washed.
I got my Trout cup again in honor.
He's got his Trout cup. We do have the Mike Trout collectible.
Yeah, and what did you put on the front of the?
Climbing up the wall. Everyone, look at this. Boom. And in front of it, we have a Shohei Ohtani baseball card in honor of the World Baseball Classic. But we were talking earlier about it. And again, this is a spring training for them.
Yep.
Mike Trout has not looked like Mike Trout this whole tournament, even though he still hit, I think he hit just under 300. He still had an on-base percentage in the 400s. He hit a bomb. He hit a couple doubles. I think he hit a triple. Did he hit a triple?
Yes.
He hit a triple. Great tournament for Mike Trout, no matter how many times he struck out. All right, you know, you could have put any American hitter up against Shohei Ohtani with 2 outs in the ninth, they're striking out. I don't care. You guys don't understand. Like nobody but professional hitters understand what it's like to go out there in that situation representing your country in the ninth inning and face an 102-mile-per-hour fastball. Nobody knows. Yeah. It's impossible. And then to break off a slider, like what you were saying, it started in the middle of the plate and then it just disappeared. Yeah. Which, by the way, that wasn't an 82, 85-mile-per-hour slider. That was a 90-mile-per-hour slider.
Like most people's fastball.
Like most people's fastball. So, for all the people out there bagging on Trout that he was mid this whole World Baseball Classic, that he's washed, that he sucks, he's a strikeout king, you can shut up. Go touch some grass outside, all right? Mike Trout, in my opinion, is still the greatest player of all time.
Well, and I think if you put it this way, you were talking about the fact of, everybody's blaming Mike Trout. They scored 2 runs.
Yeah, they scored 2 runs.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole game.
They scored 2 runs. And I was talking about this. I said, think about this. The USA, our starting staff, or lack thereof, for Japan to only score 3 runs on what we threw out there. Now, we had some good relief pitching at the backside. Okay. When you have to use Aaron Loop.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. Don't you ever use Aaron Loop's name in vain on this podcast ever again. Do you understand me? Do not ever use Aaron Loop's name in vain on this podcast ever again. This is what I was
talking about.
What did he came in, was it bases loaded?
Okay, but
1 out?
No,
he only gave up 1 run?
I understand that. I'm not saying, what I'm saying
Don't you ever bring in Aaron Loop's name again.
What I am saying is if you
look
at
yourself.
it, you pick from all the American baseball pitchers that we have in MLB, and what I'm saying is we by far did not have anywhere near our best pitchers, especially starting pitchers, available because they decided not to play.
Yes.
And we still lost 3-2 to Japan, who had all their best players, all their best rookies, these sensations. I mean, these guys, all of them threw well. I mean, they all had
disgusting.
They were nasty stuff. I mean, their stuff was moving. They had weird arm angles, just different gesturing, and they're just some crazy stuff to have to go against. And I'll say this, they knew the weakness of the U.S. And the weakness of the U.S. hitters, even though we had an awesome lineup, is it's a bunch of power hitters. And what do power hitters do? They swing for the fences, and they're swinging out of their shoes, especially since it's a once in a lifetime thing. You watch the Japanese player, they sacrifice themselves. They're trying to slap the ball to get on base, do whatever they can. U.S., every time they came up, Arenado, it didn't matter who it was, Goldschmidt, whatever. These guys were all swinging like they were coming out of their shoes, and Trey Turner, who actually connected for 5 of them or something in the tournament?
4.
No, I think it was his 5th, wasn't it? Anyway,
you're lying.
At any rate, the bottom line is, if you want to blame somebody, it's Mookie Betts' fault. Why? Because he's a Dodger.
That's why he's a Dodger.
No. The reason, think about this. We get the leadoff guy on base. The one thing you got to stay out of is what? A double play. Hit the ball in the air. Anything but what he did. And then he puts 2 outs. All the pressure's on Trout, because basically you either got to find a way to get on base, or the game's over and it's your fault. Trout was almost in an impossible situation. Yeah, and I will tell you this. Ohtani, that guy was driven on a mission.
Yeah.
Come on. It's spring training, and the guy's throwing his first 2 pitches at 102 miles an hour. And you're expecting, and Trout even admitted, like I think in an interview just prior to the Venezuela game, that his timing still was not there. He goes, usually I have a lot more at bats. He goes, my timing isn't where it needs to be. So obviously he was struggling with that, and everything came down to him. But I can say this: no matter what happened, the bottom line is it was great for baseball. Yeah. It was a blast watching. I couldn't wait to get off work so I could get on and watch the game, and to have it be Trout Ohtani at the end. You just couldn't pick it.
It was
better.
Poetry.
It was, and
it was scripted.
And one more thing on my part. If the roles were reversed, and we know Trout doesn't pitch, so let's just pick one of the nastiest pitchers that you could possibly go against, and put Ohtani in that same role, and he would have thrown that same splitter, or that same breaking ball away,
Oh,
Ohtani would have dove over the plate. The way that guy swings at outside pitches, the guy looks like half the time it looks like he's a bad golfer. So Ohtani can't, I mean, honestly, nobody can complain because Ohtani would have struck out in that same situation. I guarantee it. That ball, he would have been out of his shoes.
Any
No, I know, and that's what I'm saying.
Against that
I'm just saying,
pitch.
Ohtani was on a mission. I mean, the guy's amazing, but so is Trout. And Trout in his usual form. But I think this is what I was talking about last week when you kind of got on me about Trout not being clutch. Trout has not had to be in a clutch situation like he had to be in this tournament in his career, really. I mean, even in 2014, he was a great player at that time. It was an MVP year for him, but nobody knew it was going to be 8 years. So the pressure was like, because remember, the Angels had just been in it like 2 years prior to that. So at that point, it looked like the Angels would just keep getting into it. So, it was a 3 and done. Everybody thought, whatever, Trout will be back there in another year or two, and it's been 8 years.
Yeah.
That he has not played in a meaningful game in his career, really. I mean, in something like this, the thing I love about it is I love the fact that he was forced into this situation because this year when we make the playoffs, because we are, he is already going to know. And you don't talk about being hungry and upset that he performed the way he performed in that last at bat. And even overall, he's pissed. So what's going to happen is he's going to be driven to make sure he doesn't make those same mistakes twice. And so I think it was a great situation for Trout to be in. Even if Trout wasn't Trout, because, his timing wasn't there, it was still spring training really for him. The bottom line is it gave him the opportunity to feel what it feels like. And now it's not going to be a new feeling when they make the playoffs. Because I think if they didn't have this opportunity, they make the playoffs, and this is his first time, he could have done that in a meaningful game, maybe in the first round, and we're out after waiting 8 years, and that would stink. So I think this is a great thing, not only for him, but for guys like Sandoval, even for Ohtani. I mean, I think it'll bring them together during the playoffs. I just think it's good. I thought this whole thing was great. I think especially for the Angels. The Angels needed this. We had so many players in the WBC, and I think it's just going to make us stronger going into the season now that these guys got a sniff of what it's like to be in a playoff environment. I love it.
Yep, and we do have to give props to Ohtani, even though we were kind of patting Trout on the back. Ohtani was absolutely phenomenal. Oh my gosh,
there's no doubt.
It was unreal. Yeah. I mean,
do you see how serious he was? I mean, he got up there. Dude was like, that man looked like he was going to kill somebody. Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to go. I mean, you knew he was throwing out of his shoes. 102 in spring training, really. I mean, that's just crazy. You knew he wanted it more than anything, and it was really almost an impossible situation for Trout. But Ohtani is Ohtani. I'm not. The
guy's a winner.
Ohtani. I'm saying that good pitching beats good hitting any day of the week, and that's what happened. That's just what happened.
Yep,
but it was fun. The whole thing. The bottom line was it was fun. It was great for baseball. I'm already ready for 3 more years from now in 2026 because I guarantee you Trout will come back out for it because he's going to want some revenge.
Yeah.
Right. And especially if at that point Ohtani isn't with us,
then
it'll really make a difference. Yeah,
so but it was also good for all the other Angels, especially Patrick Sandoval. I feel as if now the world knows about Patrick Sandoval because Patrick Sandoval, maybe for like stat nerds and everyone, and maybe like the very very baseball fans who are very interested in like every team, they might know about Patrick Sandoval. The average fan does not know about Patrick Sandoval. No. I now feel like the world knows about Patrick Sandoval. I mean, he was dominant.
A-Rod doesn't know about Patrick Sandoval.
No.
Did you hear what he talked about in our in the post game or about the Angels? This is because the Angels have no pitching.
Yeah, people are very uneducated on the Angels.
But that's where we want to be. They don't know about Detmers. These guys don't know about our young pitching.
They don't know about Sandoval and Detmers and Suarez.
And even the guys
Canning.
coming that are still in the minors that won't even make the team that are another year or two away from being the next Sandoval or Detmers. We've got quite a few guys in that lineup in AA and AAA is pretty loaded with starters that maybe not ready today.
Well,
but
that's what happens when you draft 20 straight pitchers in a row. Right?
Hey,
that's
we
what
had to do something.
But I'm very glad for Patrick Sandoval that he absolutely, dominated against really, really good teams too.
4 1/3 innings. only 4 hits.
I mean, it was just dominant, lots of energy. I'm glad the world got to see.
Struck out 6.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, he looked great. He looked great. And
really tight pants. Really, I mean, he always wears tight pants, but Patrick, if you're somehow listening to this, those were even tighter. I don't know where you got those tailored, but those are some tight pants. I'm glad the world got to see Jose Quijada and him unbuttoning his jersey and losing his absolute mind after every strikeout he gets and pointing to the sky and to the people in the crowds and screaming and walking off the mound at 2 miles per hour. That's what we get on a Thursday afternoon watching an Angel game, is Jose Quijada doing that. I'm glad they got to see David Fletcher's mustache.
Yeah.
And
did he shave it? He's back.
He did.
Now.
He
did. So that was just a World Baseball Classic for his brother.
He's a coward.
Look-alike or something.
I liked it. I thought he should have kept it.
But yeah, I know he played. I know he was back because he played today for sure in the game in the spring.
And also, how about Benji Gill?
Yeah,
managing a Team Mexico to semifinals.
I have a feeling that next year he won't be a coach for the Angels.
He'll be a manager somewhere.
I have a feeling.
I mean, I liked him as a manager. Yeah. He was very good.
Well, and I think the other thing too is the fact that he speaks Spanish.
It helps a lot.
Oh, because there's so many
Hispanic
there are so
players.
Many, yes,
players
Hispanic
that speak Spanish
or Spanish speaking from just the Dominican, all these different areas, and just the way he handled himself, the professionalism. I mean, I always liked him, but I think it just my level was here just because I knew Benji Gill as a player, but after watching him as a manager and just the way, even in the interviews, the way he talked, I mean, the guy sounded like a manager. He's up here now. I'm glad he's on our coaching staff this year. I have a feeling we're going to have a tough time keeping him on our coaching staff next year, and unless he doesn't get a job somewhere. But I definitely know he'll get some interviews. I know that for sure because I mean I think everybody was talking about.
I mean, you took a Team Mexico who wasn't really it was a question if they were going to even make it out of the qualifiers. Yeah. I'm not the qualifiers, the pool play.
Yeah.
And he took them all the way to the semifinals.
And he beat the U.S.
And I mean, and they would have went to the championship game if it wasn't for Gallegos having an absolute meltdown like he always does. Why? That was one thing. I mean, I wouldn't have like Gallegos in there. And also Gerardo Reyes. People don't know if you don't know Gerardo Reyes. He pitched for Team Mexico and got out of a huge jam. So for all you deep Angel fans, we do have Gerardo Reyes in our bullpen, minor leagues.
Minor leagues, yes.
But I wasn't a fan of DeRosa. He was a big disappointment for me.
Well, his use of the bullpen was a big
His
disappointment.
bullpen was rough. I don't know why Tucker wasn't starting.
My biggest thing is, but my biggest thing with him, and I do know, out of all of the other countries, the U.S. had the most restrictions on their pitching, from my understanding. For whatever reason, that was like a puzzle. They're like, he can only pitch in later innings. He can only pitch one inning. The most pitches he can. So he's trying to like calculate. So he didn't have like just where he could bring out any guy. The one thing that I think showed that he just had never managed before was the fact that every time you're bringing in a reliever, you should have somebody else warming up. Because if they don't have it, pull him out because he's not going to be at his pitch count anywhere near it, and you can get.
Well,
he waited until we were
given
bases loaded.
It's the World Baseball Classic.
I mean, it's one and done, especially when we're out of pool play because it's one and done. And I mean, we were fortunate in 2 games that we were able to hold on because his management of the bullpen killed us.
It's not just that. Because they showed him a lot, and it just looked like he was just kind of there for the ride, which I totally understand. If I was managing the team, I would be the exact same way. Because you have a team of all-stars.
I was just going to say, what are you really going to do? You're letting these guys do what they do.
I understand, but if you look at Benji Gill, right? He had this sense that he was managing the game.
Yeah.
DeRosa, you just felt like he was one of the guys, and he's just kind of there.
Yeah.
And he just kind of set the lineup up in the beginning. Was just kind of there having fun and stuff,
Well, I mean, look at all the coaches he had.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm not being so harsh on him.
None of them had really even coached before for the most part.
Well, I know, but
so
that's why
it's like a bunch of all-star coaches with a bunch of all-star players all having a big party.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm not getting on him. But I wish he would have taken some more managerial control.
Well, can I say this? The bottom line is that they would have won if either number one we would have hit better, or number two, because really we pitched. When I knew we were going against Japan, and you would have told me we would have held them to 3 runs, I would have said we would have won.
Yeah.
Because my biggest concern was Japan would score like 15 runs on our pitching because. We didn't bring. I mean, we just
depleted.
didn't have. Yeah, we were depleted. I mean, we had a few back end guys that were really good, but the middle and the starting was not good.
Yeah,
You
Kyle
know?
Freeland and Merrill Kelly being the first one of the 2 to 3 guys to come out of the pen were
Yeah.
a little brutal.
Yeah.
But
So
I do love DeRosa. Good job on MLB Network. I will continue to watch you, DeRosa. But
it was fun watching DeRosa. The thing you got to say about him is you could see how much fun he was having,
Yeah.
and it made you want to have fun. Like he just made it exciting. He wasn't one of these humdrum, like, in the dug. I mean, smiling. Just you could see, I loved watching him be nervous. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like he's sitting in there, and you could see his look. He's like, "Oh crap, what am I gonna do? All right, what are we gonna do?" And you could look at him. He's talking to the other coaches, like, "Well, what do you think we ought to do?"
yeah, I know.
I don't know. What do you think you ought to do? Call home, find out.
Well, that's what I was
Call
saying.
mom, find out what she wants to do.
That's why I was saying how it wasn't really like he was a manager. It was more just kind of like he was there, which I guess, I mean, if I was there, I would probably have quit in the first inning. I would have gotten too nervous. But there is one person we have to talk about. He made some comments on ESPN. I don't know if it was this morning. Might have been this morning.
I think it was this morning, yes.
He made some comments this morning. Christopher Mad Dog Russo, if you guys don't know, he is the biggest doofus.
I love Mad Dog, by the way.
He loves Mad Dog, and he loves showing me Mad Dog videos, and I just barf.
I love Mad Dog is an old school. He's an old school type of sports broadcaster. He's that guy. Okay, this is the thing. Is there an East Coast bias? Absolutely.
It's
okay. And Mad Dog's
he's already in bed by the time the West Coast game started.
And I totally understand
that.
But my part is this: if I was in his shoes, so in other words, I was famous enough to have my own show, MLB show, where I could talk about what I wanted to talk about, and the way he does it, I would be like that because I really wouldn't care what other people thought, and he doesn't. And he just says it how he thinks it. Now, do you have to agree with the guy? No, absolutely not. And his comments were, I'm sure after he looked at it later, it was probably like, well, I didn't mean it like that, but he wouldn't care. He's Mad Dog. That's how he is. He says
it
things.
was great TV. He definitely brought in the viewers.
I think that's part of what he does. But that's that East Coast. I mean, that's East Coast for you, and that you got to respect one thing about the East Coast. They're no nonsense. They're so passionate about what they do, and even he's a big Of course, the Yankees are his team, and he'll throw them under the bus every other day just for the things they do as well.
That's every Yankees fan. I feel like the Yankees, the people who hate the Yankees the most are their fans, probably.
Yeah. But I'll read. This is the kind of how the conversation went. I did a little clip on it. Hopefully, I got it all.
Well, you know what? I can play the video. How about that?
Okay, you play the video.
We'll play the video for you guys right now.
Here's the video right now.
Did you see the headlines today? Epic at bat. Incredible moment. What? Yeah, but why? Because they're teammates? I mean, and Trout does nothing but strike out. Trout struck out twice in the game. He strikes out. Everybody talks to me about Trout and DiMaggio. I mean, Trout strikes out 175 times a year.
This is so stupid. Mike Trout strikes out every game. He's terrible.
So anyway, after hearing that, talking about all Trout does is strike out. Well, first of all, and we all know this for a fact, when Mike Trout, before he signed the extension with the Angels, what was that, 3 years ago or whatever it was when he re-signed, of course, every Yankee fan wanted him. My buddies that were Yankee fans, everybody talked about, right? They all talked about he needs to go to New York because he's from New York, right? Well,
he's from Jersey.
Sorry,
he's from Jersey. He's not from New York. New York fans. He's from Jersey.
Okay, but what I'm saying is he's an East Coast boy, okay, and really a Philly fan. So the bottom line is Russo was saying nothing but about how Trout needed to go to New York. That's where he could cement his career and his legacy and all this stuff. He wanted it, Trout. Now suddenly all Trout does is strike out, which, who was the MVP last year that beat out Ohtani? And wasn't he a Yankee?
Aaron Judge.
Yeah, and how many times did he strike out a game? I remember
only like 1 in every 3 at bats.
Yeah, something like that. So the bottom line is not about how many times you strike out. I mean, Trout hit 40 home runs in I think 2/3 of a season or something last year.
100 games in pocket change.
Yeah. So the bottom line is when you hit home runs, you're going to strike out a lot. And so Judge struck out a lot, and so did Trout. Doesn't make them less great players. So, yeah, Russo, do I agree with his comments? No. Do I love Russo? I do. The guy, he likes to spark things up. He does. That's what he does. That's who he is. I know you don't like, Brandon does not like.
I do. I have no love or sympathy for Chris Russo.
I play him clips from different things I hear.
I want to jump off a building every single time he comes on the screen.
So it's it is that. But final week of spring training. Our last game in Arizona is Saturday. Boys will pack it up. I think we have a game on Sunday. I think the game Sunday's at Dodger Stadium, and then Monday, Tuesday at Anaheim, or it could be the reverse. I don't remember.
I'll be honest with you. I've kind of lost track of time right now.
At any rate, so we've got the Angels only have a few games left. They're gonna be in Anaheim and back in Anaheim. The thing I don't understand about the schedule, this is the stupidest thing. We take a day off on Wednesday. We open on Thursday, right? Versus the A's. And then we take a day off on Friday.
Yeah, I don't care.
Well, start the season on Friday. For goodness sakes. The most exciting thing is to get opening day, and then you just want to roll out those games, and we already got to take a day off.
Yeah, it's gonna be brutal.
So at any rate, yeah. So the season's right around the corner. So I think before we wrap things up today, we need to talk a little bit about where we think we're at and what it's going to look like here. What do you think there were some cuts? Do you have what those cuts were today?
No, I don't. And I'll make it up right now. The big one was Zach Weiss.
Yeah.
So we know that Zach Weiss is not going to be
all the rest of them were Davinsky got cut. Most of them were people that
the people who you think got cut.
Yeah.
The people who are of our interest that are still here are Andrew Wantz, who is probably the favorite. The surprising one is Ben Joyce. Ben Joyce is still in camp.
I think they're going to give him as long of a look as they can.
They are too.
But this is what I think.
It's just funny.
I've got an opinion on that, and that's why I wanted to bring that up. What do you think about this? So, and I know you love Quijada. Okay.
Don't even.
Okay, no.
I'm not even going to listen to this.
Just listen to me for a minute. Just listen to me for a minute.
That's
okay.
A dumb
so
take.
Quijada, as you know, is from Venezuela, and that's who he played for. Do you remember his last inning that he came in to pitch for them? Do you remember that? It was versus the U.S.
Okay.
Right, when we eliminated them.
Wait, what?
He pitched a third of an inning.
Time out. What are you talking about?
Quijada.
In the World Baseball Classic?
Yes.
He didn't pitch against the US.
Yes, he does.
No, he didn't. Venezuela played
us.
No.
Okay, he played us. He played us. No, he played the U.S.
When?
Venezuela. We had to play them to get into the final. It was
shoot, did we? Oh
yes.
Yeah, we did.
And he loaded. So anyway, this is what I wanted to bring up.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Quijada pitched a third of an inning. He did strike one guy out, but he walked a guy, gave up a hit, and loaded the bases. And then they got cleared. So he gave up all 3 runs on a third of an inning. Now this is the reason why we know Quijada can have these moments. But did you see today's game in spring training?
I did see today's game.
Okay.
He had a good game.
He went another third of an inning.
He had a good game.
6 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned, and he did strike out a guy in this one. My thing is I feel he's really off right now. And he has options. So my thinking is maybe we give him a little bit, maybe a few weeks.
Does he have options?
Take a look. I could be wrong. If we could send him down, I say this. At this point, we were talking about Wantz being that last guy we think was going to make it, right? Isn't that what we were saying?
Yes, most likely it's going to be Wantz.
But and you're checking that out right now, and I'm not 100%.
I thought he was out. I was under the impression that he's out. Jose Quijada is out of options. Oh well, he's in pre-arb. No, yeah, he's out. He's out of. He's out of options. That's what I was in the impression that he was out of options.
Because I'm a little worried about him.
I'm not worried.
I am.
That's his nature. He's getting it all out of his system now.
Well, I hope he is getting it out of his system because after coming back, you would think, hey, he's going to want to, reprove himself a little bit. He did not have a good World Baseball Classic at all.
No, he had that one game. The other games he did fine. He did fine in the
Just
games.
I'm just saying.
Coming in big situations,
The
big,
guy-
intense,
we
high
know
leverage
the one thing
situations.
about Quijada.
Striking out
The
guys.
guy only throws his fastball, and he has trouble locating.
That's what I love about him.
But
you
he has
don't know
trouble
where
locating.
it's going.
And the
you
problem
know what's
is-
coming. It's 97 down your throat. Try and hit it.
I know, but
And he's just gonna throw it in.
and they are at the clip of 6 runs in a third of an inning. They got 6 hits.
That was a one-off situation.
No, we saw some bad times with Quijada last season. So I don't know. I just brought him up because
I disagree.
I saw him in today's game and I was like, ooh, this is not a good way to.
Well,
to
if you want to get rid of him, then you have to waiver him.
We're not going to do that. We wouldn't want to waiver him.
The one theory I did see that was interesting is that maybe O'Hoppe starts in the minors and you keep Theis. That way you don't have to put him open to waivers.
I think that's what we should do.
Because he's having a good spring, isn't he?
Yeah, he is a really good swing offensively, and he's actually looked pretty good behind the plate and everything. They've gotten a lot of good feedback. This is why I say this: it's not going to harm us to have O'Hoppe down, even if it's for a month. If Theis comes up and once the big show begins and he's not cutting it gives you a little time to shop him.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have an injury. And who doesn't want a utility guy that can catch play
third,
first and third?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So and so my thing is you can't get nothing for him. You can't just cut him right now. So I would love to see O'Hoppe, to be honest with you. But have you seen O'Hoppe? He's still struggling with the bat. The guy's striking out a lot.
He is 23.
Yeah, no, I know, and that's what I'm saying. So it's not going to hurt him to spend a month or two down there, see how Theis does, and even if Stassi reverts back to last year's Stassi at some point, maybe the Angels have to ship him off. Problem is they'd have to eat a lot of his contract because I think he still has a couple years, and I don't think people are going to pay him.
This might be his.
No, it's not the last.
It's not.
No, it's at least one more after this year.
Ah.
And I just don't know too many teams, and I think we're paying him $7 mil.
Seven.
Yeah. It's not something where someone's going to take a $7 million on. We would probably have to.
Someone would
part
take
of
a
it.
$7 million.
But the bottom line is, I'm just saying, you're hoping Stassi's back. But the bottom line is to have that depth with O'Hoppe. Theis is so close. You just want to see what he can do. I mean, if you think about it, he was kind of in that same camp. With Taylor Ward, and you've seen how Ward blossomed. Not that he's going to become Ward, but
you don't know.
But I think he's kind of another one of these late bloomers, and you're starting to see some of that now. And I don't want to just a guy that we've had down there that long without getting something for him.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had to trade him,
Matt Theis has been a part of this team for a long time.
I know.
He's been here for no one really understands that. He's been here for quite some time.
Well, it's been with Ward because they were drafted back to back years as wasn't it first round catchers both years?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Like, what the heck? Well, that was under the Billy Epler regime.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. and both guys immediately, as soon as they drafted him, they go, you're not going to be a catcher. So it just didn't make a lot of sense. Then draft somebody else. You know what I mean? It just didn't make a lot of sense.
Oh, well, I'm happy we drafted him.
Yeah.
But
well, I don't know if they're first round. I don't know if he was a first rounder. But at any rate, we did what we did. We did what we did. I'm saying I don't think they were worth a first round pick. I know we even drafted them early, and people were like, "Why you probably?"
Well, no one really understands why we do things. Not even Angel fans. I don't think the front office knows why they do things either. But we just kind of act like we know what we're doing.
Well, that's obvious by how our minor league system's been the last 10 years.
You shut up about our minor league system. I'll tell you that.
No, I think our minor. I said, give us another year.
We'll be
2 years, and we'll be in the top 10.
I don't know about top 10.
I think in
give
2
us
years,
top 15.
In 2 years,
I think we're like in that 10 to 15 range in 2 years.
Okay.
We don't have the names. We have a good base.
No, but what I'm saying, in 2 years, we could have the names.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think some of our pitch? I think it's going to be pitching led. It's not going to be hitting led.
In the top 100s, we might have a couple like in the 50 and above.
It depends on what guys make.
In order to have a top 10 farm system, you need to have a guy who you know is down there, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!"
You got to have at least 3 to 4 top 100 to be in the top 10.
Yeah, and I mean we're gonna have those guys, but they're gonna be in
the 89s, 90s. Okay. Well, the bottom line is
we know their worth.
Yes.
We know their worth. The world just doesn't like us, so they won't understand. But I think that might be it for today, everybody.
Well, can I just say this? I love that baseball's going to be starting up. I'm excited to see what's going to happen this season.
Is it the next time that we do this, the season will have started, or no?
No, not quite. We will actually be the day before. We will be day before opening day is our next podcast. So the next time you see us, the final decisions will be made on the final roster spot. So there'll be no more speculation.
Should we do a prediction? We'll put some money on it.
Okay.
$50,000.
$50,000. You got it.
We'll both go into debt.
Okay. I've got my Monopoly kit right.
All right. We'll do.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. But they're gonna send down Ohapi, put dice on, and you want me to go bold? I'll go bold.
Oh, here he goes.
I'll do a bold one.
Okay.
And Joyce is gonna make the spot. I'll say Joyce. I just don't know.
I don't know that.
Why is he still here? There's no reason why he's still here. I know it's probably
because I think they're trying to figure out what they want to do, and I want to give him as much look as you can. I mean, the guy's been good. I mean, he's had a few rough moments, but his stuff's there.
I'm gonna give it to him. I'm gonna make my bold decision. I'm gonna make the prediction that Ben Joyce is going to take that last bullpen spot.
From who?
Wants. Yep. And I don't know where Wants is on here. Let me see if Wants has Wants has options. I'm gonna say Ben Joyce is making. He's gonna get added to the 40-man. He's gonna make the
okay.
roster.
So can look at one more thing in here and there. Does Berea have any options?
Oh, I think you keep Berea. I don't think he does. He's one of those guys who's been here for a long time too. Yeah, Berea's done. He has no options. He's been here for a long time.
I know, but I've been.
Berea is young. He's only 26.
I know. Well, we have a lot of young guys.
Well, I thought he would be older, like 29, 28, since he's been here for so long. He's been here for quite some time now, I think.
Well, my question is, I'm still so I like your picks there. I could definitely go that way, but my big question is, what are we going to do about the 6th spot because of the option issue? We're going to have to carry a 6th guy that's probably going to have to be long in the bullpen at the beginning.
It's Berea.
I think it's Tucker Davison.
In the bullpen?
To open the year, and then they'll move him into the starter role when we have our first starting. Because
when you need
the guy has no options. What are we going to do with him?
No, he makes the team. No, I think Tucker's making.
So what are you going to? But you can't.
And
but he's going to take up a bullpen spot because they can't afford to carry a guy that's not going to pitch for the first 2 weeks.
Oh, then maybe Wants and Joyce both start in the
This is my thing. I just don't know what they're going to do about it because they're not going to just lose Tucker Davison. I mean, they traded for him. He's looked good. I mean, his last start was not great, but you're going to get that in spring.
Yeah, I don't know. The Angels are screwed. That's just one.
That's what I'm saying. This is the hardest. It's been years since. Most of the time, we're like, yeah, this guy's doing it. This guy's doing it. And,
it's either that or we don't care.
Or we don't care because most of them are crap. But this year, we actually have a lot of guys who are like, we don't want to lose them, and we also want them on the team.
Well, that's what happens when you get a bunch of,
So we're actually so deep that we have some options. I'm saying that Tucker Davison is making the team. I don't know how. I'm not going to predict that because I have no idea. You could be super bold. You could be super. You know what a lot of people are saying right
Jake
now.
Lamb.
Right? Oh, he's another one. But that guy's been around forever. He can't have options. But he signed a minor league contract, right?
I don't know what contract he signed.
I think he's a minor league.
He has a base salary of $1.25 million.
What are we going to do with that?
But I don't know.
But I think it might be a minor league contract.
I think so. It might be one of those ones where it's like, you get an invite to spring training, and if you make the opening day roster, or if you get put onto the active roster within the first 30 days of the season, then you get $1.2 million. If not, then you can declare free agency if you want to. I don't know if it's one of those.
And I don't know either. But I'll say this: the other thing that a lot of people are up in arms about, okay, the move that everybody was like, is the Brett Phillips. We gave him 1.5, right? Everybody's loving what Moniak's been doing.
I told you from the very start.
But this is the
hold on. You shut up for a second. I want everyone out there to know. When we made that trade, that was Marsh.
Yeah.
For Moniak.
No, that was Ohapi. For Marsh.
Oh yeah, you're right. When it was Syndergaard for Moniak.
Yes.
Everyone was like, "What the heck are we doing? We got Moniak out of Syndergaard." I told my father, you watch out for Mickey.
He did.
I
He
told
loved
him
it.
you watch out for Mickey.
I wasn't that happy with it.
No one was happy except for me. I was the only happy
one of these
one about
guys
Mickey
that was
Moniak.
supposed to be a big thing and never turned out, and you sent him to the Angels. We never seemed to turn anybody out.
I had that. My knee was itching. All right, I knew it.
But the question is people are like, we need to just release Brett Phillips or try to trade him. The bottom line is, Mickey Moniak is not going to get much playing time as that extra outfielder. I just don't think that's going to do him well. Then to suddenly sit and come in a game once a week or twice a week late in a game, and then try to bat, all this momentum he's made. So I think he's still going to end up in the minor leagues, and Brett Phillips is going to be your guy. But I'll tell you this: if Brett Phillips
stinking it up
so bad that he's not worth his defense,
then you have Joe or Mickey in the minor leagues.
I think you would go with Moniak at this point. I think Adele needs a full season down there. That's my opinion. You've seen a lot of improvements. He's hit some dingers this spring. He hasn't looked as horrible.
He hits dingers every spring.
I know, but
he has a monster spring every spring.
Well, he's got that big swing. So when he connects, he connects. Problem is he doesn't connect a lot. So he has to figure that part out. But I still think it's Brett Phillips, and we kind of play it out. I mean, to begin, they're going to keep it simple. As long as the biggest questions are the ones that are out of options. And you're just like, oh, it's a killer to know some of these guys are out of options, because you're like, they have had amazing springs.
Yeah, I don't know what you do. If this was my baseball simulation game, I'd be having a stroke right now. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do. It's a sticky situation. Mickey Moniak still has an option. That's the only thing. He only has one option after this. So after this spring, when he comes up, he has to stay.
Well, I think this would be if they had some type of injury, they could bring him up, and at that point,
you have to trade.
If he did well, then they would have to trade. I think you have to trade Brett Phillips. You're not going to trade a young guy.
I honestly think I think he just gets released. Unfortunately.
Well, you're right, because remember, we're the only ones that offered him a major league contract to begin with. Everybody had offered him minor league contracts, and we said, we'll give you $1.5 million.
I love Brett Phillips. I love his laugh.
Yeah.
Love his energy. Yeah. I love the defense, the speed, the late inning bullpen appearances. But I don't know. It's a lot of tough decisions. There's gonna be like one or two guys who are gonna be left out in the dust. Who are gonna get backstabbed by Perry. Scary Perry.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It'll be cool. But next week we will talk about who made the roster and what we will predict our thoughts on the season next week, since it'll be the day before opening day.
And we'll put some money on it. We'll make it interesting for you guys. We'll put some big money on it.
We'll come up. Let's both put what we think the final record will be for us to get into the playoffs or not. We got to put money on it. You got to say how many W's,
cash.
How many W's is the Angels going to get, and to get how many wins do you think they'll have, and will they make the playoffs?
I'm predicting a lot.
No, we'll save it for next week. You're going to have no reason to come back. I mean, right now we got them on the edge of their seat. Oh, and by the way, guys, since you guys didn't get to see me in my cowboy hat on the live podcast, I had to bring it back.
Oh yeah, the cowboy.
Doesn't that look good?
Yeah,
I look good in red.
We should end it now before.
I will say this: the one day I wore my white Angel jersey, I was so pale and wiped out. I said I'm never wearing that again on the podcast.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. So I just wear this. One of these days I will go into my Angel. I got to get into the garage and find my box with all my Angel gear in it. I just haven't done it, so that's why I'm still wearing the same jacket over and over. But whatever, it works.
It's because you're not a true fan. Look at this cool jersey I have.
Was that on sale at Walmart?
Shut up.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for watching the Angel Angle.
Yeah, Angel's Angle. Thank you, guys. We will see you. Oh, and by the way, please leave some type of comment.
No, like it.
No, I wasn't saying like it. I said leave us some comments. I'd love to hear what people think about our
Leave
garbage.
us some hate mail.
Yeah, that's all I want. I just want some comments. So if you watch this, please, no, just make a comment. Put a comment. I want to hear what people have to say, especially about this guy over here. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hate comments. Yeah, I can hear it.
Don't comment. Get a hobby. Go live your life.
This is the hobby. The Angels.
Get outside. Turn off your computer. Have some fun. All right, buddy.
We'll see you next week.
Have a aggressor Nate.
Just before opening day. Go Angels and Mike Trout. We love you.
All right, shut up.
Bye, guys.